Welcome to another video yet again. So I do have a really nice setup for you guys, and I will be discussing another play at the end of the video or somewhere in the middle of the video. So make sure you watch every single minute of this video so you do not miss out on that exclusive information. Drop a quick like for me if you are enjoying this content. But I do have a profitable penny stock that just put out some very interesting news stating that management will be rewarded up to 100% of their base salary pay for achieving certain milestones within the business, which includes increasing net profit as well as securing new vendors. And keep in mind, guys, this is a company that has already had explosive growth every single quarter, every single year. This is a 1 million share float stock, and the chart looks like there's a lot of room or a lot of potential for a breakout if the volume does come in. There's zero dilution filings. And so far for fiscal year 2024, they have already done $84 million in total revenue, and they are forecasting $165 million all the way to $250 million, or up to $250 million for fiscal year 2024. So that means that they hit this, just if they hit the lower end of that estimated range, they'll do $81 million for Q4, all the way up to $166 million plus. The stock I'm talking about in this video is HOUR, Hour Loop Inc., which is currently trading at $2 per share. But right off the bat, I do want to show you guys something very important about their absolutely incredible revenue growth year over year. So I always add 3 zeros to these numbers, but in 2020, they only did $38.6 million in total revenue. The next year, this jumped all the way to $63 million. In 2022, this jumped to $96 million. And for fiscal year 2023, this jumped all the way to $132 million. And for fiscal year 2024, they are expecting up to $250 million in total revenue, which is absolutely insane, especially for a penny stock. That's, some of the best growth I've ever seen for a company trading under a $100 million market cap. So we're going to also talk about something that just recently came out. We had an 8K filing come out on the 17th of this month, around 9 days ago. Now this is pretty big, guys, because you have to consider the company has already had explosive growth. They just had, if you just look at the quarter over quarter growth, they just had their best quarter ever in the last few quarters, or at least in the last 3 quarters, it looks like, or 2 or 3 quarters. And they are profitable. And just looking at their estimates or their forecast for 2024, it looks like their net income and their revenue will have record-breaking numbers for the last quarter of 2024. And it looks like with the seasonality of their business, Q4 is always their best quarter. So they basically are a reselling business. So that's how it works. It does make sense through the holidays that this would be a record-breaking quarter. So we have to go back to this 8K filing that just came out a few days ago, or just the other week, that basically states that the top 2 shareholders that own 95% of the voting power of the company are eligible to receive up to a 100% bonus of their base salary pay if they do achieve certain milestones within the business. So before I go into the terms of this agreement, which is very important, I do want to discuss that the 2 majority shareholders are basically married, Mr. Lay and Miss Yu, or Miss YU, and they together beneficially own 33.3 million shares of the company. So each of them owns 16.7 million shares, or just around that number, leaving the float at 1.7 million shares. And something that's very big right here is they have never really sold any shares. Even when this one ran to $6 plus just a few months ago or last year, they did not sell a single share, it looks like. So going back to this agreement or these terms right here, if the company grows its net profits to at least $500,000 during the 2025 fiscal year, Mr. Lay will receive a bonus equal to 50% of his base salary, and he will receive a 100% bonus if the company grows its net profits to at least $1 million during 2025. You look at the other majority shareholder, she will receive a 100% bonus if the company acquires at least 135 new vendors, and it looks like she will receive a 50% bonus if she does secure 100 new vendors during fiscal year 2025. So some very big incentives for the two majority shareholders. And I still think it's very interesting that they have never really sold any shares, or I've never really seen any Form 4s of them selling stock. So I have looked at a lot of these. Looking back at the chart, we did break out of that falling wedge right here. So I'm going to delete that. But something very key is we did just close over the 50-day moving average, which is very bullish. If you look at the MACD down here, it just switched over, it is curling up down there. So that's a lot of bullish momentum going on. So a very strong close right here. Do have some key levels to break over. And we are currently trading just over $2 or just around $2 right now. Next stock we want to briefly talk about is BioKey, BKYI, which did actually spike to $1.34 today and did ultimately go back down. Is currently trading at $1.12. But we had some really nice news that came out. And we do have earnings coming tomorrow in pre-market. So guys, anytime earnings come out, it is very risky. It could go either way. But that is the next catalyst we have. But this one has had major press releases and, does have some nice jumps, but ultimately doesn't really hold its gains too well. But today, BioKey completes initial biometrics-based identity and access management deployment for new international defense agency customer in record time. And there is a future catalyst announced or attached to this, because it does say right here, the managing director at BioKey goes on to say that they look forward to working with a customer on the planned expansion of this deployment in the coming months. So that's a catalyst that will be announced soon. Their collaboration will continue with this international defense agency customer. So I have covered this one before a few times, and they do have 15 months of cash left and a very low cash burn rate. So it looks like they're good on cash for the next year. According to that, offering ability is low, overhead supply is low. So dilution isn't really a concern right now. And this one has spiked, 20 to 30% a few times since I've covered it. 13 days ago, BioKey partners with California EdTech JPA to make its identity and access management solutions available to 195 member institutions serving over 2.6 million students. They are partnered with MasterCard. They're partnered with the U.S. Senate, government agencies, and a lot more. So this is a company that has continued to secure major contracts and just hasn't really seen that parabolic run we've wanted. So we do have earnings. That's the next catalyst tomorrow in pre-market, like I said. But I am expecting more press releases. Just they have been very active. So we'll have to see how that goes. And that's really all I have for today's video. Let me know in the comments what other plays you're watching, and I will see you on the next video.